Let me see. Let me get this going. Let me just tweet about this because I guess that's a way to let people know. Also, probably should look at my Twitch dashboard just to make sure things are going good. Let's pull that up. Tabs muted. That's good. I look to be live. That's cool. Thank you, thank you. I had so much fun earlier today. I thought, why not? Why not keep working while I'm in a good groove? Cool. Sweet. All right. Okay. So I think everything's set up. Um, yeah, just real quick. This is so I'm Joshua. Hi. Today is also November 20th. And this is a bonus stream. Like earlier today, I did my regular scheduled development stream, and it went really well, and I was feeling really productive. So I'm coming back, and I am working on some more Delver, and welcoming you guys to come and hang out with me and chat about game development and things like that. But it's evening, and hopefully it would be a nice, chill kind of hangout experience. So I'm just going to start working, and I'm sure folks will kind of filter in. So yeah, I'm not going to sweat it. I'm just going to work. As always, if you have questions, do feel free to ask them. It could be about the game. It could be about game development. Pretty open book. I'm just going to jump right back where I left off. Let's erase that. Start up a new game. And still working on getting that fire wand in a good spot. Better. So I think the issue I'm having is the dust ring particles are Fulbright. They tint correctly. The flyaways aren't Fulbright and they're not tinting correctly. Let me double check that. So up here, are they? Yes, the Fulbright. So I think they are, but let me just go ahead and pass. I mean, these also should be Fulbright. So I'm curious why they look like they're a different color. And it's kind of, oh wait. PE dot particle Fulbright equals Fulbright. There we go. That should make them look correct. Yes, okay, so they are Fulbright. They're not receiving the tint color. But I'm starting to think the flyways are looking all right. Let me. I guess I gave them their own property to control that. Yeah, the flyaway color. So let's go ahead and use it since we have it. That's for the make flyaways. So the make flyaways should use either this flyaway color, or there we go. So if it's null, you inherit the color from the spell that created this. Otherwise, use the defined flyaway color. And then let me go ahead and clean up some of these commented out spots. Yeah, let's see what that looks like. Yeah, hey Chris, welcome back. I'm sorry, I have no idea what time of day it is for you. I assume it's like the middle of your day, like uh, anywhere over like somewhere in the early afternoon. Yeah, so those of you who do know and those of you who don't know, this is a bonus stream. So occasionally, when I have the free time, I do extra development streams, um, which is nice. I've been pretty good about. Why are they not picking up the color? I do like. Oh, that looks so good when they like do the little. Might be a little much. I think it's so cool. For some reason, they're not picking up the color. Am I not specifying it correctly in the JSON? That's what I should check next. So the flyaway color is the same as the dust ring color. Is it a type? Did I make a typo? I don't think so. Flyaway color, flyaway color. So the flyaway color is a property on the explosion, which, yep, that's there. Let me just take a peek and see what that's actually doing. Yeah, so it is early afternoon in New Zealand. So I assume you're at work. There we go. All right. So this is the explosion particle, which is cool. But I am more interested in the flyaways. So let's continue. Okay, so particle color is, that looks right. That should be the flyaway color. Is what is set. Okay, and it is full bright is true. Particle color is that grayish color, so that should be. Oh, because I'm not. Yeah, because I keep forgetting that with the flyaways, there's two particles. There's the particle that um, is like the piece of debris, and then there's the particle system that emits stuff off that. So you need to make sure in both places to propagate that. So PE dot particle color equals particle color. So this might actually change. Let me just grab that, even though so just paste that there. So that should be correct. Because I might not necessarily, like, for example, I want, like Chris pointed out, this might be better to have it as a hot color, like a yellow or orange, rather than the gray. But that should fix. So Chris, he's asking how long I'm going to try to stream on this bonus stream. I'm going to shoot for 2 hours, but I'm going to at least commit to 1 hour. There we go. So that looks better. I might want to darken it up still a touch more, but I think it's definitely heading in the right direction. And I think I should probably shorten down the life of the flyaways. Maybe by 2/3. So their lifetime is 100. So maybe let's try 75. That's 3/4. Maybe even less. Let's try 65. That's a nice, strange number. Um, let's play that real quick. I think Chad keeps telling me there's a way to do to have IntelliJ actually hot patch the running code, but I've not got that to work. So in theory, hot patching means when I make a change to the code, it would propagate to the running instance without me having to relaunch. I think that's getting really close. Because it's not even striking the ground in some places. Yeah, let me again play around with that starting Z as well. Um, let's try that. So I'm just gonna keep bumping that up incrementally until I find a spot where they don't get stuck in the ground. Because what's happening sometimes is when the explosion occurs on a flat surface, that somehow the particles that are being created get stuck in the ground and they don't actually launch. Dang it, like that, see. But if I do it like on a side, a good number of them actually escape. Cool. Gagey is complimenting me on the particle effects. Thank you. Yeah, I'm working hard to try to make Delver as beautiful as I possibly can. So, yep, particle effects are a pretty cheap way to do it, considering it's only, I mean, it's just one little particle animation that we're using, but I think it breathes a little bit of life, and it makes the fire wand way cooler to use. So let's try that. Let's try. If I do something crazy like a quarter. So now I'm getting to the point where I'm going to start getting at crazy Z offsets just to see if that's even the issue now. Also, let me see. Yeah, so I spoke to Melissa, my wife, earlier today, and because for us this week is a holiday week, and she will actually be home Wednesday, probably Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and I have a nanny on Monday. I think I'm going to try to stream every single day this week. So you guys will probably be sick and tired of me, but I'm going to shoot for it. And if that happens, great. If not, I'll be sad with myself. But I'm going to try to stream every single day this week, even if it's just for a short while. Okay, why is that? Okay, now it's time to make this big. If it was just one, I'm raising it a full 32 pixels off the ground. So this should be really dramatic. Very cool. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, so that is working out okay. I just need to find the sweet spot for, so 0.25 not enough, 1.0 way too much, 0.5? Yeah, no, it seems like the folks who are in chat are excited about me streaming every day this week, so that's cool. I'm pretty pumped about it too. I think also lines up with me trying to push hard and get this next update out, because I said it would be in November, and November is running out, and I'd like to get this into like a really good state before I hand it off to you folks to tear apart and tell you what's broken with it. That still works. So I want to keep them so they collide with stuff, so you get these nice little like bounce stuff, but I'm just not sure why they aren't. Should I start them further apart from each other? Is that the issue? Out of curiosity, Chris, why do you have the entire week off? Is it also holiday in New Zealand? Okay, so that seems to be going okay. Let me tweak the z velocity a little bit. I think it's a little too much. Um, um, Let me see my z velocity. So it should be like a random value. So up here, I think we're randomizing the velocities a bit. Um, let's grab this and try it. So right now it's 0.1, which is, I think the max is what it should be. So So 0.1 is the max, so 0.25 plus 0.75 should give me the range, I think, somewhere between 3/4 to the current range of velocity that's doing right now. Hey, Avram. So he's asking, when will I make the held items volumetric? And hello. So hi, Avram. Thank you for stopping by and checking out my stream. Um, Probably never is the short answer. Um, for us, it's just not that much of a concern. I don't know what it would really add per se. Try to see, can you really tell that the z values are all that different? Maybe I should extend that range out a little bit so it has a little bit more variety to it. Let me just slide it over 0.5 and 0.05. It would be an interesting experiment to do something like that, but we don't have any plans. Seems like I'm having a hard time clicking on these save slots for some odd reason. Maybe it's just, I don't know. Maybe it was just me. You say, what's up with the smoke particles getting stuck over there? Yeah, sometimes I think they're spawning too low, but I haven't really played around with it too much. Um, uh, Again, right now I'm just playing around with the Z velocity to give a little bit more variation, which I think this is looking nice. Um, I think this is turning out pretty decent. My only concern is the particles right now are full bright. I'm not sure if they should be. The explosion certainly should be, but not sure about those. Also, let me try pulling the colors closer to the actual explosion color. So let me pull up that sprite sheet, which is not this one. It's the large particle sprite sheet. So particles underscore large. Actually, I have this animation here, which would probably be an okay animation for the, or I could, well, I might make a separate animation for the little piece of debris flying out. But let me just go ahead and grab this color and let me quickly just find the color I need to multiply it by. So Do some quick math. Out of curiosity, I always forget, is Photoshop, I think it should be 0 to 255 on these colors, right? Yeah, 255. So let's pick that. Let's do that. Oh yeah, no, everyone, I don't think it's a difficult thing to do. I mean, the easiest way to do it would be to create a grid of cubes that correspond to the size of the texture sheet, and then just assign them the color and alpha of that particular pixel. Maybe even if the alpha is transparent, then don't place the block there. So let me just change my tint colors real quick. There we go. So over here for I think my dust ring definitely should be the same as I think 4 significant figures is probably enough. Let's go back to my green. Uh, 1960. And finally, my blue. Yeah, same thing. Okay, cool. Though it might be nice to have a little bit of color variation. Maybe I might lighten it up a touch. We'll see how it looks, and then we'll kind of play with it there. Oh yeah, let's throw this wand away. Let's spawn a new one. There we go. I don't know. I mean, it's not bad. It certainly helps the explosion have more volume. Yeah, I think it's okay. Let me try, just out of curiosity, if I also made the flyaways the same color. Mr. Cryptic YT says, "Hey man, this is looking freaking awesome. Thank you for the kind words. Yeah, I am the main artist or only artist on this project, so it's my job to make it as good as I possibly can. And also, because we do this in our free time with no budget, I have to be, I guess, good with how much time I put into stuff. Yeah, it's been nice." I wonder if I should randomize the number of flyaways too. Though 4 every time is okay, I guess. You can't really. I guess it would either be 3, 4, or 5, maybe. I wouldn't want to go too crazy with them. Chris was also voting for having some sort of light, because right now there's we have a light that's attached to the magic missile projectile, so if you watch the ground you can see the red, kind of the red from that, but the explosion itself doesn't create a light. I guess it would be okay. I ought to be able to create a light that lasts as long as the explosion. That should be doable, and I can also pull the color of the spell from it. let's try that. So adding a light should be relatively easy. Also, I think I'm getting into a good spot. Let me just make sure I commit some of my changes so I don't lose stuff. Actually, now, so this maybe do a quick little code review on myself to make sure that I'm not screwing things up too bad. So this is adding the flyaways, and you can designate their color. Again, more flyway stuff, more flyway stuff. That looks fine for the time being. The thing I wanted to, and then I made it so particles can tick whatever's attached to them, so that's not a big change. This particle emitter, though, I need to make sure this is the right logic because I need to have some way to, because sometimes you want the particle to stick with the owner, and sometimes you don't. So this might be another property we need to expose. That's in particle emitter line 166. Yep, right here. So yeah. So so what I want is if you are attached to something, you can opt in to not inherit its transform, basically. Let me see what the other properties look like right now. This is for each particle. It's not necessarily for the um, emitter. So each particle. Okay, so what would that property be called? Sure. So everyone is saying a grid of cubes isn't the best way. Sure. Yeah, of course not. You need to figure out like if you're inside or outside or on the edge. But yeah, that would be the quick and dirty way to do it. Yeah, because I could do something like I would like just to kind of I guess to visualize what I was talking about. Is I could do something like so. Let me see. Actually, let me see how big my items. This looks to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 by. I forget how big it is nowadays. Image size. It's 640 tall. 640 divided by 32. 20. So it's 8 by 20. So let's go ahead and let's add a plane in Blender. And let's scale it 4 on the X, so that makes it 8, and scale it 10 on the Y, which makes it 20. Let's go ahead and let's go ahead and just quickly throw on the UV texture. Open image. Let's just point it to my repository. Assets, data, items. Then what I can do is I can just quickly do a bunch of loop cuts here. So I need to do like 19, I think. Yep. And then I need to do 7 here. Okay, cool. So now what I can do is I can grab, say, oh, this guy should be cool, right? So let's go into face mode. Let's duplicate that. Let's split it off to its own selection. Let's just look at it by itself. And then similarly, I can do a trick here where I can do 31 cuts this way, and I could do 31 cuts that way, and then I can extrude on the Z by 1, 32. And that should be kind of what I was looking for. It didn't pick up the. It should have grabbed. Huh. Maybe the new stuff didn't grab the. So let me see if I can just grab these vertices, pin them, grab these vertices, pin them, then grab the faces in the middle. Let's do 5, 7, 5. View, project from view. Will that break this? Yeah, it did. Yeah, but you kind of get the idea. Then I was trying to look for a quick and dirty way to just get the nice Minecrafty looking type of item here. So Ephraim was commenting on my ability to use Blender. Yeah, I've used Blender for a very long time, so I feel pretty comfortable modeling in it. So that I just that's a thing. Oh, it was a lot of tries. There is some cleanup I can have Blender automatically do, but yeah, no biggie. So so let's get back to what I was talking about with particles use their parent's local transformation space or they use the global transformation space. And I want to add a property for that, and I want to particles Fulbright. Hey, welcome back. Yeah, I'm back also. Had a good stream, and I just want to keep the momentum going. Particle spawn count. Working on the same kind of stuff. Just keep on polishing up the explosion stuff because explosions are fun. Right now I'm trying to clean up my code and commit it so that I don't lose the changes I made because I didn't do that before I quit my previous stream. So particle appearance, particle spawning. Should we enter particle spawning? So public Boolean particles. Particles use parent transform space. That seems way too wordy. Because basically I'm looking for a name for a property that says whether the particles, their transformation space is relative to their parent or is it relative to the world. Particles relative to parents equals true. Let's expose that to the editor. So true does nothing. So if the owner is not null, and this particles move relative to parent. So if that's true, so yeah, that should be the case. And then for the flyaways on the explosion, I just want to set the particles move relative to parent is false, so that should mean they still move in global space. Let's check that out. So Heen says, I might have missed your answer earlier, but can your particle system velocity be set relative to a surface normal? What do you mean? So if you were to say, if you wanted to give it z velocity relative to the normal of the surface it hit, because I think I don't need that. Right now we just use it's just using absolute. I'm just curious. That might still be the velocities on those might be a little much still. I don't know. Like I'm kind of liking it, but it's kind of I don't know a lot. It's fun. It feels nice to blow stuff up like this. Through the editor, no. Some of that stuff we do manually. So like with the arrow code, the arrow we grab the hit normal and do the correct kind of reflection stuff. For this sort of stuff, it's just we just use absolutes. I see what you're saying. Like some of the stuff would be nice to do relative to the surface it hit, but that I'm just trying to be efficient with my time. If I can make it look good without having fancy stuff, I just go for it. So Go Raccoon says it's looking a lot better than it was a few hours ago, and he loves the explosions, or they love explosions. So thank you. Yeah, those are very kind words. To talk about Himban, there is no blast radius right now. Right now, I'm pretty sure there's no blast radius. I think it's pretty small. I'd have to test that out, but I think this is in this. Well, also it's also kicking off these little pure white particles, and I need to address that as well because they shouldn't be white. They should be something else. Is it something like this where we? Because I think these are particles that we generate when any sort of magic hits something like. Those explosions really should be inheriting the spell color, not white. So I'm curious why they're like that. I might investigate that. Yeah. So their point being that most of the time they'll be shooting walls, not floors. But you also have to take into account you'll also be shooting enemies, which are vertical. Yeah, because I think at the end of my previous stream, I actually played a while with the wand blowing up stuff. Let me see, is there a blast radius property on the explosion? So I know this is called by the magic missile projectile. And it is an on hit. And it does a hit effect. Yeah, so this is Java and libgdx, which is built upon LWJGL, which is using OpenGL underneath the hood. Yeah. Have a good night, Evram. Thank you for stopping by. Good luck with studies, and take care. I'm glad you could stop by. Yes, Evram, I got the question you sent me on Hangouts, and I will take some time to look at it and try to give you a reasonable answer. Yeah, no worries. Okay. I was looking at the radius of the blast. I also probably want, if it's going to be, I mean, actually, do I have this in a spot where I want to commit? Yeah, so I added a new property. Um, so everything is working good. Let's go ahead and commit all this stuff so I don't lose my progress. It's also to commit the state of the wand. It's doing pretty good. So fire wand explosions working on. Okay. So that looks good. Let me commit that. Let me go ahead and sync my changes. So if Chad's doing work, we don't even get the latest too. I've been mostly just committing to my local repo, but let's go ahead and sync to the remote. Refresh my drink real quick. Is that it? That's it. Okay. Let me see. That's all good. And what's next? Yeah, the light and the blast radius and the speed. So lots of little tweaks to make this feel good because I've said before I want this wand to feel like a rocket launcher. So for that, it needs to do a few things. I think it needs to travel a little bit slower because right now it's pretty darn quick. Um, it needs to have a decent amount of knockback to it. So stuff in the blast radius will get knocked back appropriately, and it should do splash damage, which I believe these do. But I don't know if can I hurt myself? I should be able to, but I'm not. I do get a little bit of knockback though. Definitely should hurt myself. I'm curious why it doesn't. I'm very confident that if I, like the explosions, it's the same class creates explosions here, and they definitely hurt me. In this case, it slowed me down too. Let me try to investigate why that might be. So hit effect, we do explode. So the splash force and the splash radius look like they are controlled by the magic missile projectile. So so the magic missile projectile, so this is the fire wand. The spell is the magic missile. This splash force, splash radius come from, I think it's a property on this. It looks to be hard-coded unless, I think the owner of this is the magic missile spell. Does it transfer those properties over is my thought. So let's look at splash. Yeah. So it looks like they have their own splash force. Does it have a splash radius? It does not have a splash radius. So the radius is only, it might be, so the explosion has a splash radius. Let me see, radius. Or does it get past one? Yeah, so it gets past an impulse and a radius. Yeah, Chris, I'm still working on the explosion. Right now, I'm kind of looking at how the splash damage works and the impulse that it gives, and just kind of tweaking over the overall spell effect. So it looks like Gunner Live 12 says trying to find a job at their age is hard, but I have so much programming background. Like I understand the sentiment. You know, I've been programming for a very long time. So you know, finding work is tricky, especially if you're underage or very young. It's difficult. Generally, I mean, the best way to like it's one of those weird things where if you want to get on a good project or land a decent job, like having experience is very important. But sometimes getting that experience can be hard. So it's kind of it's a weird situation to be in. Um, So the magic missile projectile has a splash force and a splash radius. These get both sent to the explosion, but the magic missile only has a splash force. So I'm going to also add the property for the splash radius. Just have that kind of propagate. So let's make it a float splash radius. And then wherever we use the splash force, I'll add the splash radius as well. So and then projectile dot splash radius. I thought projectiles had that. Oh, it's a private float. I just expose it. Not a big deal. So now that's a public float, and then equals this splash radius. Cool. So now we should be able to, through the JSON, control the amount of force and how big the splash is on the spell effect. So yeah, so chat is still talking about like freelancer contract programming employment. So that looks good. That looks good. So this propagates down to this should so the magic missile should set that on the projectile. The projectile should set that excuse me on the explosion. So then I can go to the JSON and I should be able to underneath this class here add both the magic missile, splash force, and splash radius. Just copy that, and we'll paste that. And let me see, this is, so generally, let's try 0, and so the splash force by default is 0.1, so making it 10 times more might be too much, so you try making it 0.5. And then the radius default is 3. Let me just set that. Yeah, let's just see how that works. JCWMMs is a Java game. I don't see many of those anymore. Yeah, I mean there are Java games around. Yeah, these days, you know, Unity and Unreal are pretty much what most folks are using, and there are definitely good reasons too. Whoa! Okay, that might be too much force there. Let me have that. Yeah, Chris is pointing out like the game dev industry is tough. Yeah, a lot of the positions you look for, they want you to have at least 5 years experience at a AAA dev shop, and you know it's one of those situations where it's kind of hard to get your foot in the door. So let's smash some stuff, and it seems excessive. I mean, it's cool, but it's really knocking stuff around. But like, for example, this should have that's just 0.1. I guess if you hit it just right, is the radius smaller? Splash radius is 3. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, definitely. So Chris has a very good point. Um, like if you want to get into the industry, from what I understand, um, you have drive is great, but the drive needs to have you create and finish projects. And then once you have a few finished projects underneath the belt, that gives you stuff to talk about. And then certainly networking also helps you. Again, a lot of times, it's who you know does help. Not to say that that's the only thing. It has to be a combination of hard work and talent and just communicating with people. Yeah, and I personally have I have just a computer science degree. It's not in game dev. It's just computer science, which is a lot of mathematics. And for the first 5, 6 years out of university, I worked at large enterprise software development companies. So I worked at Lexmark and Microsoft, working on non-game stuff. But it's nice that I do have the background to where I can do that if I want to, but also I can do game dev. They are slightly different, but I think just knowing computer science allows me to, um, as long as like it just, I'm a decent programmer. It's just the domain specific knowledge is the stuff that really sets you apart. Okay, so it's a splash force. So is the yeah, so the splash force, okay, on that guy is set to really small. Okay. Okay. So then my splash force might be insane. Splash force 2.5, which is 5 times more than the other one. Um, that would be 4 times, which kind of reasonable, I guess. Let's see. So let me throw down this apple, and let me blast it and see what the splash damage looks like. So yeah, that has a decent, it has a lot of splash. I think if it is rocket launcher like, it definitely um, should hurt the player if you blast it too close to a wall. Let me see what's going on with that. So JCWMM says, did you make your own Steam compiler or are you using someone else's? I'm not quite sure what the question is. Personally, I don't handle submitting the stuff to Steam. Um, so I'm one half of Delver. I do primarily art and level design, but lately I've been doing a little bit more programming just to kind of support the art stuff I'm working on. And lately, the other developer, Chad, has been pretty busy with his day job and life. So um, I don't mind stepping up a little bit. No big deal. I'm a competent programmer, so if I'm making crazy changes, I'll run it by him first. But he's been pretty open to me making changes. Okay. Um, so the force and the radius look cool. Um, so let me see. Does it call hurt anywhere? How does that work? Do explosions not call hurt? They call hit. Damage type, damage amount. Um, yeah. So this is on explode. So it looks like okay. So we have a spatial hash that we grab entities at XY coordinate at some radius. Um, So we apply a physics impulse, which is cool. Let me think. Cause damage. So this, I'm just curious why it's not causing damage to the player. Yeah, definitely a wild live stream has appeared. I had a little bit of extra time tonight, so I figured I'll make it a double header and I'll do 2 streams in a day. Try to get a lot of Delver work done. Just trying to push to get this thing finished, or at least to get this next update out and into you guys' hands, and that way we can get the good feedback and make good changes. So let me just try and see if it grabs the player and if it is damaging or not. So let's grab this and erase, play. Okay. So if I go up to the wall, the blast radius from the explosion should hurt me. So let's continue that. Okay, so we're going to look through what it's, so, let me see, it's upside down. So we're grabbing a bunch of entities nearby. So let's take a look. Breakable player, magic missile, projectile, trigger shop, note, breakable. Okay, so the player is inside of that. So let me just step over this. So in is breakable. If I continue, yeah, that's fine. So this entity is a breakable. Continue. This entity is the player. So this is, So what is the, let me look at my, let's close this event log. And let's remove my watches, add a new watch. And I want in.owner is null. This dot owner? Go. Let me remove all my watches. Then new watch. In equals owner. False. So let me see. Let me step. Okay. Okay. So we're doing this temp2, which is of type vector3. Okay. Okay. Okay, applying a physics impulse to the player, that seems right. Damage amount is 0. Damage is 0. So the damage on the explosion is 0? That's interesting. So where does this, so this explosion dot damage, by default is 0. Does magic missile projectile not actually assign that? Explosion. It does not. So out of curiosity, I guess explosions, they should. I think the owning spell should set the damage. Is that the case of the potion? Yeah, so here the potion sets the damage for it, but it looks like the missile projectiles do not, um, which is curious. I guess they. So I guess you don't want to double dip, right? You don't want, or do you? Right? That's the question. Like the should the projectile cause damage and the blast cause damage, or in this case, should it be only the blast causes damage? Let me ponder this a little bit and see what I can do. And also, is the damage amount? The damage amount should probably also scale according to the distance from the explosion as well. Um, yeah. Yeah, I think I agree. I think it's just the blast that should cause the damage. I'm trying to think of how, what would be a good way to hook that up? Because that's not the current model that we have, and you don't want to break stuff that exists, but you want to kind of add this in a nice fashion. Right. There are a number of ways I could certainly do that. Like, so True Shadox is saying that you could have head-on shots do more damage, like Doom, if I recall correctly. So what you could do is you could look at the distance from the center of the blast to where the entity that's receiving the damage is, and you could do like a non-linear uh, fall off on the blast damage, and that would certainly have a similar effect. So if you do hit them, you do way more damage than if they just get hit with splash damage. Um, well, I think linear might be okay. I think linear might be fine. We're already calculating that. So, um, because this is the distance, and this is the distance over the impulse distance. Yeah. Um, so this bounds in between 0 and 1, and this. So this mod could be also the damage type. This the damage times mod right there. We're already doing that. Um, so that's correct. Hmm. Yeah, I could just simply hook it up and see how it plays, right? Like, again, that would make the fire wand crazy powerful. Um, uh, let me just double check here and see the explosion. Let me just kind of flip through all the explosions we have defined and see if they have any damage. Looks like they all might just be like, yeah. So yeah. I'm just worried about impacting everything with this change, which I mean might be okay, might not. Um, I could always just dial back the splash on the other effects. Let me just hook it up and see what it does. So the magic missile projectile is the one that creates the explosion. Um, yeah, so it creates an explosion, explode, hit sound. So explosion color is null. So let's do something like explosion dot damage equals this dot damage. Oh, I already have an instance of Delver running. Yes, because I was debugging. Let's just start afresh. Yeah, yeah, it's really smashed the thing next to it. Let me monsters dungeon. See if I just yeah, even if I'm close, let me just play a little bit and see how this feels because the fire wand already does like crazy damage, like 4 to 24. Um,
Hey, over here!
oh, oh goodness. Well, I should have expected that. So then does that potentially make all of the wands like hardy? Like if I spawned a missile wand and I used it point blank, does that hurt me? Yes, it does. Is that okay? That is the question. Like if I were to blast the wand per point blank, should I expect to hurt myself? Maybe. Um, uh, let's give myself a fire wand. I guess it's nice to have some drawbacks to a high splash damage. Um, a high splash damage weapon. I'm pretty excited about that. Um, let me just play for a little bit. It sounds like my poor son is having a bit rough time. Like he lately has been fighting. Um, he's been fighting bedtime so hard. So I may have to call this here in just a little bit. I want to play this just a little bit and see what it's like. And then I'll probably wish you guys a good evening. And I'll see you tomorrow because I'm going to try to stream every day this week. Insanity! Whoa! I have to be super. Oh man. I might have to dial back that radius a little bit because it's super fatal to myself. Yeah, because if I let me just see roughly. 'Cause three units is pretty big. Um, because like that means if I technically hit here, that should break the boxes. Yeah, that's a bit big. Um, it's a bit big. Let me. Uh, I could do a non-linear interpolation for the explosion damage because right now it's just linear. Um, actually, yeah. So before I get too caught up in what I'm doing, I should go. I hear my son crying, and my wife needs help because like a crying child is a handful, and it's nice that we can tag team and help out with each other. Um, uh, so I'm going to sign off tonight. Thank you so kindly for joining me on my bonus stream. It was fun. I like the little the yet another stupid death moments we had, and I will see you tomorrow, probably midday. I have a nanny. She's coming in from 8 o'clock in the morning to 4 my time, so probably midday, probably noonish. Um, I will tweet out probably noon, but I'll tweet out when it's getting ready to start, kind of like a normal dev stream. Yeah. So folks, take care, and I will see you tomorrow.